Hi. Well, I decided to try something that you're not supposed to be able to do with a collet puller, and you're not supposed to be able to pull pistol bullets with a collet puller. They're normally a straight through collet, which is great for rifle, but there's very little to pull on with a pistol bullet. This is a 9mm I made a long time ago before I really got into the casting, and I made a bunch of them that were undersized. The mold I had wasn't no good. So I had about 500 of these things laying around the shop for a long time, and I figured I'd decap them sooner or later. Once in a while I would just grab the inertia hammer and pull some. That was a real pain in the neck. And not too long ago I picked up a used RCBS collet puller, and I decided to mess around with it. So I ground the inside of the collet to the bullet, and that seemed to be a pretty good setup. So I wanted to show you guys this. It is possible. It takes time, but it saves a lot of work. So you go in. The biggest thing with this is when you push it up like that, keep gentle pressure on the handle as the collet is tightening, because the case and the bullet will rise up as the collet closes down on it. So just give it a snug. There's the 9mm right there. This is how I did like 400 of them so far. Once I'm done with this, then I'll reshape this collet for another bullet style. There's just too many bullet styles to, try to even make these things. So I thought I'd just share the information with you. It's a lot easier than beating the thing on the floor there, trying to get the bullets out. Depending on the crimp, you can beat on that thing forever. So that's the 9mm. And some other calibers may work, depending on the shape of the bullet. But you have to grind it yourself, and after I show you this, I'll go through the grinding sequence. That was the 9mm collet there. Now, for the big kahuna question, can you pull this right here, a semi-wad cutter? This is a 45 ACP 200 semi-wad cutter. Can you pull that? Well, let's see. I got another collet over here that I ground. So put that in, like so. We're going to change out our base plate right there. And once again, this is something you're not supposed to be able to do with this thing. And put that in, slight pressure down as you're tightening this up. Just give it about a quarter turn. Oh, look at that. Semi-wad cutter. And if you look at it, that's a reusable bullet. So I made a couple dummies here just to show you it's not a one fluke deal. And slight pressure on the handle as you tighten. Got a quarter turn. And once again, there may be a little nick on it, but I wouldn't hesitate putting it back in a case to be fired. And once again, this is a lot easier than hitting it with a hammer. So just to show you a couple more times here that this can be done. And all these bullets I'm going to throw right back into my bullet bin because they're still in good shape. I didn't scar them up doing this. So yes, it can be done. I've been thinking about trying this for a long time. And there you go. That's the 45 semi-wad cutter. It can be done. So after this, I'll show you how I made the collets work. Okay, this is how I formed the collets. This is the one I already did before. This was for the 9mm. This was a Lee TL 356-124. It was a tumble lube bullet, and they were the ones that give me trouble. They were undersized and not round, and very hard to open molds up with the tumble lube grooves. So I formed this one with a grinding wheel here that I shaped to match as close as I could with the profile with that, and then I could go in and grind that out. Now the bullet, as you can see, sits in just about to the shoulder, and when it goes into the to the holder itself, it gives it enough bite that it'll extract the bullet out of the brass. So from there, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the 200 semi-wad cutter. This is out of a Lee 452-200 SWC. This is the one I've been running. So the life of the Collet starts out as these RCBS. This is the 09423. It's a 6.5mm. I started with the smaller ones because I wanted enough meat that I can grab all the way around the taper of that. So you can see I'm going to have to do some grinding there. What I usually like to do is start off with a fresh grinding wheel. This is a Dremel 932, and from there what I do is I calculate my thickest dimension. So I come down onto the shoulder here, look at it, and looking at that, it looks like 375 is going to be our major diameter here. I'm going to have to take this down because this is running about 408. So that I'm going to put in the Dremel tool. I'm just going to use a dressing stone for my grinder, and then I can just tap on this and get it down to that dimension. I think I'm going to do that off camera because I really don't want the dust into the lens of the camera itself. So I'll get this dressed up, and then I'll show you how that worked out. Okay, we got that ground down. We're going for our 375. That got us to our number that we needed. Next thing we got to do is look at the profile of the bullet here. At the tip of it, or smallest or a minor number, what I would call it, I'm looking at around a 260 for the small number of this. This I'm going to grind down. It has a small hollow in the end of this wheel that is going to screw me up, so I'm going to grind that flush to that. So I know 260 is going to be my tip, and then I need to know the height of this, and I think I'm going to bring it in around 300 thousandths. So those are my two numbers there. Once again, I'm going to do this camera off. I made a lot of dust just making this to size. So I'll shut down and we'll start shaping this. Okay, just got done grinding this down. Profile looks pretty good on this. If you line them over top of each other, you can see it looks like we got just about a perfect match on that. I ground the tip of this flat, so I have to deal with that dimple. I measured 300 thousandths back from the tip. I put a pencil line on there so I knew where the base part of this was, and then I just started going in at a fairly steep angle just to get my 260 here. Once I achieved that, then I just connected the two lines in a straight line, and that gave me my taper. So the next thing we're going to do is it's time to grind on the collet itself. I think what I'm going to do is I have a smaller stone here. I'm going to use this to remove some of the material first, and then I'll go in with this, and then that'll finish up the cut there. So I'll do that off camera again. Maybe the very last bit I'll do on camera here for you. And I think the thing about this is you don't want to polish any of this inside. You want to leave those grinding marks. That gives you the grip you need when you close the collet. Leave those grooves in there, and then that'll give it a good bite. So I'm going to do this off camera again, and maybe the last bit I'll just do on camera to show you that, and then we'll get over to the press and see how this thing works. Okay, here we are. I got a good amount of the grinding done so far. It's going in nicely, feels good and tight. I just have a small V-block I made for using on the drill press for round stock. One thing I forgot to mention about this, these collets are hardened. It's not an easy grind on this. You have to go a little bit at a time and cool it off. You don't want to get it too hot. So at this point, we're almost there. I put my line on the grinder here. I'll get over here, and we'll go for the last bit of the grind. I'm trying to get it down to that, down to the line itself here. So let me try to get this in to there. Okay, let's hold this thing on here. Alright, that's pretty close to the line, and I got to cool this thing off. It's getting warm fast. Okay, and then we'll try a fit on the bullet and see how we look there. And if you look closely inside there, I don't know if it'll focus, you can see the scratches, and those are the ones we want. So still sticking out a little bit. Like to see it a little bit deeper. So we'll go in again, grab this, and alright, she's good and hot enough not to hold. Cool that off. A little bit of water, and I think that is pretty close right there. We'll give it one more shot. I like to see it a little bit deeper in that, almost to the shoulder itself. Now grab hold. She's hot again. Let's take a peek at this. And this may be a try here and see how this works. And yeah, that's pretty good right there. That should work. If not, we can go a little bit deeper with that. Okay, so that's that part right there. Okay, I tried this out as I ground it before, and it just wasn't engaging the tip of the semi-wad cutter right. Now it's functioning fine. I had to go in deeper with my bit. You could see before I was out, there was a line there before. Now I'm in the full depth of that. I didn't want to increase the diameter of that anymore, so I just ground down this a little bit smaller, and I just kept on going in deeper with this so it would engage all the way. So that is how I grind them. It's not an easy thing to do. They're hardened. You got to take your time. They get hot. The only other puller I see out there, I'm sure there's others, is Hornaday has their cam lock system. But those aren't real collets. They're like sleeves. This is a real collet right here that you can work with. These pull in, I think I paid 12 bucks for this. They were on sale for 10 bucks, so if you can get them on sale. Bit, I think, was about 3 bucks. So I got 13 bucks in it, and now I have it. I thought about doing these for people and maybe, you know, make a little money off it, but there's just too many shapes of bullets, and they really do have to be shaped per bullet to work. So that's that, and you know, we'll check out the rest of it. Well, I hope some of you found this interesting and are willing to give it a try. It's a worthwhile endeavor to do this. It's a little tedious to get them to fit the collet just right and to make them reliable, but once you have it, you're set and done. So I hope some of you try it, and I'll catch you next time around. Bye.